Oh, I think we're live. Good morning, everybody. I always say that, because I never quite know whether we're live or not. But it looks as if we are because I've got the little red light going on. So first of all, I'd like to say good morning to my spirit guide, Grey Eagle, who is right by my side here. And we have Cachorro, who is next to me on the sofa, sound asleep at the moment. To my far right, we have Carolyn. Say good morning, Carolyn.
Good morning, Carolyn.
And excuse me, we have Al in Colorado. Say good morning, Al.
Good morning, everyone.
I don't know if anybody can see you, Al, or if you just like this embodied voice. What can people actually see you?
No.
So you are the embodied voice then. Okay. All right. And so good morning to all of you out there as well. Don't think I've forgotten you because you're the most important. Because, excuse me, without you all, we wouldn't have a show. I'd be talking to myself. A lot of people think I do talk to myself because when I walk around the house, or if I'm at a friend's house, I'm staying somewhere with friends, or even with my daughter, she'll sometimes hear me chattering away, muttering away. People think I'm talking to myself, but I'm actually not talking to myself. I'm talking to the spirit world, as you probably guessed when I started saying that to you all. So, Al, do you have anything to tell us today? Do you have any news, any bright little story you want to begin with?
No, I don't actually.
I've got a bright story. Would you like my bright story?
I would love to hear your bright story.
So we have a friend, Tam, who often, my grandson, Reese, for those of you who don't know, he's just 5 years old, and Tam is his toy. She is his favorite toy. Whenever she comes over, Reese loves it because she plays and plays and plays with him. She gets up to all sorts of antics with him and they have a great deal of fun. But the other day she took him out to the park and they got some balloons and they were batting balloons back and forth to each other. And the balloons were different colours. Excuse me, I'm really sorry, but I've still got this chesty thing going on. It's not as bad as it was. Anyway, so they're batting these balloons back and forth to each other. And at one point, my grandson, who is my darling boy, he got a yellow balloon and he bats it over to Tam and he says, Tam, here comes the sun. Doesn't that tell you how bright and beautiful and wonderful that child is? Don't you think that's a bright and happy story there, Al, for you?
It is. I think that's a great thing to start every week with.
No, here comes the sun. All right. So, yes, I know you're all champing at the bit. I know that so many of you don't really want me to talk at all. You just want to get on with the questions. So why don't we do that? Al, why don't you ask the first question, can you please? I'm sorry, I'm keep choking a bit, but there's nothing for it. Other than me not to talk at all. Al, why don't you get the first
Sure.
question?
Nate has a question. It looks like he had another question at some point. Carolyn, maybe you see the original question. I do not. He has a question about angels.
Okay, never mind. Let's have the question you've got there.
Okay, so he has a question about angels. He says, was Tecumseh or Harriet Tubman an angel?
I haven't a clue. I'd love to be able to help you, but I haven't a clue. And remember, when we're talking about angels, we talk about spirit guides, we talk about our family in the spirit world. We also have what we know now as, excuse me, I'm going to cough again. Sorry, we have earth angels. And earth angels are sent here by God to do God's will. Angels are those beings of light and those beings of beauty who only do God's will. We can ask our angels to do a trillion things for us. We can pray to our angels. We can beg our angels to do things for us. But only if God decides, only if God sends that angel to do whatever it is, will an angel even listen to us, because an angel listens only to God and is only God's messenger.
Rosemary, can I ask a follow-up question then?
Go ahead, yeah.
So what sometimes confuses me, whether there are angels, earth angels here or not, I think people like Nate was talking about, Brother Nate was talking about, they're these people that kind of exceeded what most do as far as being good and impacting the world in a positive way.
Yeah, yeah. I think, and I don't know if they're actually earth angels. I mean, you know, I'm not. I know a lot of people think I'm all knowing and all seeing, but I'm really not everybody. I'm not. I only know certain things. I only know, you know, certain aspects. And although I am listening to Gregor and I'm listening and hoping he's going to answer me, I'm getting nothing from him either. So perhaps we're not supposed to know these things. I think that there are people who walk this earth who are more godly and more spiritual and more beautiful than the rest of us, who do absolutely a phenomenal and amazing works. Does that make them angels? I don't know. It certainly, in my book, makes them beautiful and incredible souls. Perhaps they are more enlightened souls rather than angels. But I think it's with the individual. I think each individual, you know, you can't say, oh yes, this group of people, they're all angels. And remember also, I'm always saying to people, don't be afraid to say I don't know. And in this instance, I don't know. So Carolyn, shall we have sorry. Shall we have a question from you?
Nate says, okay, dear sister, well understood.
Thank you, Nate. I can always rely on you for such wisdom and great questions. All right, let's have another question, shall we?
December says, hi, Rosemary.
Good morning, December.
How can or should someone go about finding a teacher/guidance to help develop their abilities?
Oh, that's tough. I wish I could answer that one for you. I think what you have to do is, you know, be skeptical. I know from someone like me, it is not, you know, you don't hear that. But I think it pays to be skeptical and it pays to be critical. When you're looking for a teacher, when you're looking for someone to guide you and to help you, unfortunately, there are so many people out there who, you know, sort of a little bit like the blind leading the blind. People want to know. There are people who believe that they know. There are genuine and honest people who believe that they know so much when they perhaps only know a little. And by the way, I only know a little, just to clarify that. But I think you have to apply skepticism. You have to be critical. You have to listen very, very careful to someone. Certainly, if you're talking to people who seem to know everything, walk away, because none of us do. None of us do. And you'll notice that even with my questions, and I'm happy to take people's questions, and I'm happy to answer the questions to the best of my knowledge. Remember that, everybody, to the best of my knowledge. And my knowledge, perhaps a lot more than a lot of people, is still extremely limited in so many ways. Al.
So Vicky asks, I am remorseful selling the home my deceased child was raised in, she says. I can't enjoy the new house for many reasons. Is my child okay with my decision to sell?
Yeah, I get this a lot. This is very common, I think, when, you know, parents lose their children, and then you don't want to move because you feel that there are so many memories, number one, in the house. And what if the child doesn't move with you, or what if he gets lost and can't find you? These are all the questions that I get from parents who have suffered such a loss. Let me just, who is the lady who asked this question?
Vicky.
Vicky. Good morning, Vicky. Can I just reassure you, if I can, just a little bit. And in fact, I'll tell you what I'm going to say, but I'll also tell you that Gregor has his hand on my shoulder, which indicates that he wants to say something also to you. So I was going to say, and I'm still going to say, children in the spirit world, they know exactly where you are. If you're moving, they know way ahead of time. They probably know before you know that you're moving. They know exactly where you're moving to, and you're not leaving them behind. Although I do understand why you feel it's so hard to tear yourself away from the place where they grew up, where they lay their heads at night and so on. I do understand all of that. However, just in the same way that, you know, when we bury someone, whether they're cremated or whether they're, you know, buried in the ground or whatever it is, we go to the grave and we talk to the person in the grave, but they're not there. They walk with us when we go there, and they walk home with us when we go back. In the same way, your child is with you wherever you are, because our children connect to our energy. They connect to our love. They won't lose us. We might lose them. You know, I'm thinking of the times that, you know, my daughter, when she was little, would run off here or there, and I'd be terrified of losing her. They won't lose us. They can't lose us, and we can't lose them. So please be reassured with that. And from Grey Eagle, who puts his hand on my shoulder, he's saying to you, darling, please don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. Your child is perfectly safe and happy. You must enjoy, you know, the new house. And remember, he's also saying to you, the memories that you have are not in the house that you left. The memories are in here and in here. Okay. All right. Excuse me, Carolyn. I'm having a really tough time here this morning. I think I sound worse than I did last week, and I'm actually feeling better, believe it or not. Yes, Carolyn, go ahead.
All right, Sharon asks.
Good morning, Sharon.
Guidance, please, on my anxiety and many more people with it. Is it to do with the energy shift?
Oh, anxiety comes in many forms. There are lots and lots of things that you can do. If you join us tomorrow, will they be able to join us tomorrow, Al? I'm not sure. Al and I are going to, yes, join us tomorrow. We're going to put a link up on Facebook, but because tomorrow at 6 o'clock in the evening Eastern time, 4 o'clock where Al is in Colorado, but in Eastern time, USA, let me just clarify that, 6 o'clock, you have to work it out, figure it out for yourselves. All of those of you who are saying, well, what time is that for us? Figure it out for yourselves. We're going to be talking about everything is attitude. And, you know, we'll be probably talking a little bit about what we can do for anxiety and so on. But there are lots and lots of things that you can do for anxiety. Meditation is one of those things. And you need to find a good meditation tape. It's so easy for me to say tape. Just a good meditation. We have a CD. We have a few CDs, actually. If you want to know more about my CDs, you'll hear my little voice on the CD talking you through all of the ways that you can meditate. If you want to know more about that, email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. Excuse me. Al, next question.
So we have a comment / question from Bernie. They say, can you please tune in and confirm my connection to higher realms, please? So I guess if there is a question in there, you know, how can we connect and ensure that we're kind of tuned in?
I think, who is this again? This
Bernie.
name? Bernie is asking, can I confirm her connection?
Correct.
His connection?
Correct.
I don't know if Bernie's a girl or a boy. I know I should know. I'm supposed to be psychic, aren't I? Just a little joke there. I think it's hard for me to say, because I think that when people are trying to make those connections with the spirit world, it is so often, I'm not suggesting it is in this case, but it is so often very, very hit and miss. You know, when we make a connection with the spirit world, we need to be able to just meld like that together. And very often we do this, or we do this, or we slightly there, or we get there a little bit. So, you know, the connections can be very tenuous sometimes, and sometimes it can be very strong. So I think depending on how much you meditate, depending on how much of a connection you make on a regular basis, you know, depends on how clear that connection is every time. And maybe my feeling, because I'm listening to Grey Eagle as I'm talking to you, darling, my feeling is that you do make connections, but sometimes you miss those connections. So perhaps you need to work on your meditation techniques, be a little bit more patient with yourself, and don't try to push it, because the best things come when we're most relaxed and more easily relaxed. So don't sort of get all tense about it, because the more tense you are, the less you're going to be connected. Carolyn, I'm so sorry, everybody. There's not a lot I can do about it, I'm afraid. I'm dying. It's cough. Anyway, go ahead, Carolyn. Come on.
Well, this question written in by Jackson is a good follow-up to what you were just discussing.
Good morning, Jackson.
And it also happens to be one of the most #1 asked questions that you receive.
All right, then let's go then.
Why don't spirits just give their full name and address?
Do you know, I have the same question. Why don't they just give their full name? Do you think I know? I don't know. I have no idea whatsoever. Sometimes they do, and it's really clear, and sometimes it's not important. And remember, all of those skeptics out there, if I were to dish out names and addresses, people would accuse me of looking in the phone book, or it's just so easy to go on the computer now. You can go anywhere at all and find somebody's name and address. It's the easiest thing in the world to do. What is more difficult to do is to give a little piece of information. For instance, we saw you painting your front door yesterday, and we like that color. It's a nice bright red. Or let me think. That was a bad example, because that's the outside. So if you were thinking about somebody skeptical, thinking that I'm hot-footing around the world, checking on everybody and everybody's doings and so on, how about I'm thinking of something really silly. We saw you steal the chocolate cake, the last piece of chocolate cake out of the fridge last night. Little things, little details are more important, way more important. But you are right. I don't know why they don't do the things they don't do. But again, I'd love to say I'm all-knowing and all-seeing, but I'm not, actually. I probably wouldn't love to be all-knowing and all-seeing. I'd rather not know some things. You're coming in with something here. I can see you sitting on the edge of the sofa. No? All right, then, Al, let's go.
Okay, Deborah asks, Rosemary, how long does it take for our loved ones to go through transition to the spirit world?
Deborah, thank you. That's a great question. Depending on the will of the person, because, some people, believe it or not, either don't want to go, or they struggle with leaving because they want to stay with their family. So it takes them a little bit longer. But I'm going to say that for the majority of us, less than a heartbeat. Less than a heartbeat. You remember that time out there in the universe is very different than time here on this Earth planet of ours. So when I say a heartbeat, I could use the nanosecond thing, because is there such a thing as a nanosecond, or even a half a nanosecond, or however long it takes like that before I've even clicked my fingers, it's done. It's so fast and so quick and so easy. When you talk about transition, though, if you mean people getting settled in when they're there, as opposed to, I'm saying that what takes so little time is the shifting of the soul coming out of the body, spirit coming out of the body, moving on. Our etheric body moving on is like that, our heartbeat. But with a lot of people, it takes a little bit longer to get adjusted, to meet their family, to figure out, where they are, to figure out if they didn't believe, oh gosh, look at me, I was so stupid. For those to figure out that they did believe, it might be just a little bit different than they supposed it would be. But the excitement and the love that comes from our families and our loved ones and our friends, all of those who greet us when we arrive, is that can take a bit longer. But the actual transitioning of the soul, of the spirit leaving the body, of the etheric body leaving the physical body and moving on, less than a nanosecond. Good question, though. Carolyn.
All right, we've got Starshine.
Good morning, Starshine. I just want you to know there is a song with Starshine. You know that, don't you? Every time I hear that name, I just want to burst into song. Anyway, but I won't.
Okay. Starshine asks,
yes.
if a soul chooses to be reincarnated, how does a loved one still feel their energy?
That's a good question. We're back to the question of reincarnation. I don't know enough about it. I'm so tempted to give you my opinion, but my opinion isn't necessarily accurate knowledge, so I'm leaving it alone. Yes.
She did say her sister passed away last Friday, and she is finally happy. Starshine's sister passed away.
Are you telling me that your sister's happy? Do you know that? Do you feel that? Is that what you feel? Because
is she finally happy?
Thank you. Yeah. That's better. Because I've got Gregor with his hand on my shoulder, Starshine, and apparently he's talking about quite a great deal of suffering and a very difficult and a very hard time prior to her passing. A lot of sadness. I can feel a lot of sadness from whoever this is who's standing in front of me. Whether it's your sister or not, I'm not sure. Again, Gregor's hand is on my shoulder. I can tell you with absolute certainty in my heart that your sister is fine. However, not so fine, still suffering because you were all suffering, but has made that transition apparently very quickly, so in less than a nanosecond, but is worried about all of you. So remember, Starshine, you have to live your life to the fullest in order for your sister to live her life to the fullest. Al, do you have a question?
We have a couple of really good questions coming in. First one's from Lisa.
Good morning, Lisa.
Lisa says, I just love your spirit energy.
Thank you.
Do you think, and it's sort of it's a follow-up to that reincarnation question, do you think we've only been humans, or do you think it's possible we've been other off-world species at some point too?
Well, Lisa, that's a really good question. But from my understanding, and I can answer this, and I can refer you all to that Carolyn's favorite book, Soul Signs, because I do know that we, excuse me, we on this earth plane, those of us souls who are on this earth plane, we're called a cluster. And this cluster of souls, a little bit like a cluster of stars or, a cluster of whatever else, but we are a cluster of souls who belong to this earth world, this particular earth world. So I'm going to say that it's probably unlikely that we who are on this earth plane are anything other than in our human form, in our soul form, because our souls, those of us who are on this planet, our souls are an earth, what they call an earth cluster. So developed from the energy of earth, and the energy of earth, as we all will know, is, science, if you know science, is earth, fire, air, water, sulfur. And that's the energy that is this planet is made up from, and that is the energy that our souls are made from and connected with. But our soul is actually made up of all of those different energies, and depending on the pocket of energy that we were each born into, what most influences, which in other words, each pocket, the 5 pockets, imagine each pocket has its own particular energy developed in its own way. So one pocket might be more influenced through fire, another pocket might be more influenced through water, and so on and so forth. But it is a great question, but I think that we are in human form, and I think we are part of an earth cluster, a soul cluster, which has to do with this earth of ours and this earth plane of ours.
Rosemary, does that apply? How does that apply to species here then on this earth plane?
Yeah, I think that, you know, we are all animals, you know, whatever, all of those of us who are souls and have, you know, and have grown from these particular 5 pockets of energy, we are all part of that soul cluster. Let's say, can a human soul at one stage reincarnate into a dog soul? I'm not up on, I don't, you know, reincarnation is not my thing. But I'm going to say, from the knowledge that I have, I doubt it very much. I know some of us would love to have been a cat or a dog in a previous life, because who wouldn't? Because my darling puppy's gorgeous. Would I want to have his life? Actually, no, I wouldn't really. I wouldn't. I'm too verbal. I'd hate it, not being able to have a voice or having to woof at everything instead of being able to talk. So I doubt very much if those of us who are human ever can put ourselves in animal form. I don't know, but I don't think so. But I don't know 100%. So don't know where that leaves us. Whose question was that? I'm completely fooled by that one now. Totally.
That was Lisa.
With that. Yeah. Okay. Let's have another question. Who's going first? Let's go. Carolyn. Go.
Bren says,
we're trying to answer as many questions as we can. Yes.
My dad passed May 18th. I was with him as he left his body, and a mist rose from his chest and head area. Was this his soul?
Yes, darling. Well, that, not his soul, but that's the energy that you're seeing. That's the energy of his soul. That's him move. Oh, how lovely.
She said it was a beautiful experience.
How fantastic. I've seen that myself, but I'm so pleased that you did, because you can actually, you know, visibly see that, can't you? It's an amazing thing. And because my birthday is May 19th, so, you know, when you said May 18th, I'm thinking of all the sadness that you must have felt, but also seeing that and experiencing that must have been wonderful for you. Yes. Al.
Terry asks,
good morning, Terry.
Can you tell how strong a soul is when you connect with it? I hear some say that was a bright soul, for example.
Well, I connect with people, and I see, you know, I'm able to see the energy of that person, because to me, I mean, you know, a soul is simply a you know, a person who needs to connect or wants to connect for whatever reason. And I see, when I connect with those in the spirit world, I see them in human form. There are times when I don't see them at all, or I'll just see their energy, but the personality of the person comes over. So sometimes, you know, it depends on why a person is coming through from the spirit world. It depends on their reasons for coming through. There are souls who are joyful, and there are souls who are very sad. And for whatever reason, when the soul in the spirit world is sad, it's usually because there's someone in the family who's going through some suffering, or they're sad for one reason or another. So it depends on the circumstances. Some people in the spirit world have a much stronger energy and are able to make themselves much clearer and much better known. Now, it could well be that they are simply connected or able to connect with my energy, and because our energy is compatible, again, go back to soul signs for that one, but because our energies are compatible, we might be able to feel that soul on a stronger level. Or it could be that the personality of the person is, as was in life, very much stronger and very much clearer. But I think that I do see those in the spirit world who are filled with joy and filled with light. But I think it depends, you know, for instance, if they want to impart news as a new baby coming, you know, I see the joy and I feel the joy. I think it depends on a person's frame of mind and the reasons that they want to come through from the spirit world to talk to us. By the way, this morning I have to tell you, talking of joy and light and so on, I actually called my FaceTime with my daughter this morning. A little bright little face. He goes to school next week. Bright little face came on, shouting, "Mosey, we're on a boat, Mosey, we're on a boat." And his face was beaming and happy, and they're off to the swimming pool. Anyway, I put the phone down and I thought, it just occurred to me, you know, oh my goodness, how fortunate I am, how fortunate I am to be so blessed, to have a beautiful daughter, to have a beautiful grandson, to live in a gorgeous place. That does not mean for 1 second that I don't experience, you know, awful things. This rotten cough and cold won't go away, that's for sure. But I refuse to allow these things, the negative things, to dim the joy that I feel when I look at my daughter's face or when I look at my grandson's face. So for all of you out there who are feeling a bit depressed right now and a bit miserable, can we count our blessings today? Because that's what I did this morning, and I was smiling all morning. I'm still smiling now, counting my blessings. Yes, there are lots of us who don't have many, but every one of us has at least one or two. If you've got eyes to see, look out of the window, look at the flowers. If you've got ears to hear, listen to the birds singing, and so on. I know it sounds a bit corny, but counting blessings. I think today should be a counting blessings day. That's what I think. What do you think, Carolyn?
Perfect.
Hal, what do you think? Counting blessings day today?
It's as good a day as any.
I think so. All right, then. Let's have another question. Do you have a question that was emailed in or anything, Carolyn?
I sure do.
Let's have.
Kathy emailed and asked,
Morning, Kathy.
since there seems to be many people who believe that your abilities are not real, could you please say a few words regarding this?
Great. Thank you for that. Yes. Yes. You know, the more people we have, the more people who, you know, get to know about me and people like me, you know, there are always a smattering of the skeptics in there. And it might surprise many of you to know that I am one of those skeptics. I'm extremely skeptical when somebody says to me, you know, I can talk to dead people. I think, well, let's wait and see. Let's wait and see if you can. So I'm just as skeptical as the next person. However, there are people out there who really do think that we hire detectives to go off and, you know, find information. I mean, I wish I could afford it. Not that I would use the money to pay for detectives, but it would be nice to have that amount of money. But remember, when you're criticizing or being skeptical of a person like myself, I mean, that's fine. When you get rude about it or mean about it, that's not so fine. But there you go. If that's your thing, by all means do it. But remember that if you think I'm a fake, that means, Carolyn, that means you probably are a fake. Al, how do you feel about being called a fake? You know me, you've watched me working. It means that everybody who has associated with me, and let me tell you, I've got friends of 35, 40 years who've associated with me over all that period of time and love me dearly as I do them. You know, remember when you're talking about people like myself, we're not isolated in a bubble. You know, we do live our lives. We do have people in our circle, in our inner circle, who see us and see what we do and how we work and so on. I mean, if you're going to call me skeptical and the people who believe stupid, which we did have somebody say, I mean, how ignorant is that? Be nice, at least. Even if you don't believe, just be nice about it. No need to be mean, is there? But, you know, Al, what do you think to all of this nonsense?
I think that, you know, you have a lot of people around you that have a good amount of intelligence, that are making decisions.
We hope so, right?
I mean, just by the nature of things, you know, a lot of people, and a good portion of those are intelligent people. I know, speaking for myself, I am too always a skeptic. I doubt sometimes, but when you think about how specific you have been in the past and are even on these calls, if you just look at the probability of things, for just one small snippet, I could think of you one time speaking to someone about a haircut that they got. Now, if you could somehow research that they got a haircut via phone, that's
when they just called in, you mean? And I didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And you know that they've gotten a haircut and that they literally had just gotten it that day. Maybe you if someone wants to say you guess at something like that, one instance, but then if you do that times 3, 4, 5, the probability of accuracy goes into the millions and billions to one. So if you want to look at it from a skeptical point, go ahead, but also be open to listen. If things connect that really shouldn't, and things you see are true that no one else would know, be accepting of that too. Go both ways with it.
Just be open just be open-minded, because and we're not about proving to people here, just for the person who wrote in there, we're not about proving to people that we're right or not right, or that I'm the real deal. I don't care if you believe or if you don't believe. It doesn't matter to me. Most important thing to me is that I believe that when it's my time and I pop my clogs, as the Yorkshire saying goes, you know what that means, don't you? It means go heavenward. Die, whatever. When it's my turn to go, I'm either going to find nothing, big mistake for me because I've lived my life like this, or I'm going to find, I don't know what I'm going to find, but I'm certainly going to find something, and I'm going to be joyful. I'm going to be happy, whether or not I've got it wrong, or whether or not I've got it wrong in some detail or another, because I'm bound to have, because we're human. So I don't know everything about the spirit world, and I don't know everything about how it works, but how exciting. and also I think, I don't want to sort of pound the pavement here, but the more people we do have who love this subject and do believe in this subject and want to know more about it, the more people we do have who are skeptical. Well, get on with it then. Live your life. Don't be mean. There's no need to be mean. Cut out the meanness and be skeptical, fine, but be a nice person at least, and if you're a nice person, I'm going to be more inclined to listen to your point of view, as is everybody else. So that's enough of that. I'm done with that. Let's move on now. Let's have another question. Let's make it a good one. Come on, let's have a good question. Not that they're all not good, because they are, but.
Well, Kay is on, and
good morning, Kate.
She says, I do count all my blessing. The day is wonderful. My family are all well, and I am so happy painting, she says.
Well, I'm glad to hear it. Good for you.
So Melissa has a question.
Good morning, Melissa.
About her grandmother. I want to know if my grandmother is okay, and if she can, or you can help me find her passion, her purpose of life. She feels very lost. She says, I'm very lost.
I'm listening to Gregor, who's put his hand on my shoulder here. I think it sounds to me like your grandmother was a really great example for you, and it sounds to me like you're not following it, and you're probably struggling to follow it. And it's easy for someone to say, well, you follow your grandmother's example, but how do you do that? And again, attitude is everything. We keep coming back to this morning, don't we, Al? Attitude is everything. Join us 6 o'clock tomorrow. Go on my Facebook page, and there'll be a link there. Hopefully tomorrow you'll click on the link and you'll be able to hear, as Al and I are going to be on first, but we're going to be talking about how we can change our attitude. And we can't necessarily make the bad things go away. None of us can necessarily make the bad stuff go away, because the bad stuff could be that we're sick, or we have an incurable disease, or that we have a breakup in a marriage, or whatever it is that we get depressed about. We can't necessarily make the problem go away, but changing our attitude towards the problem and changing our attitude towards our own selves and the way we deal with things can make a huge difference. I think, you know, today we're in the sort of like we're in the land of pills. You know, go to the doctor, he gives you a prescription for something, or you know, they barely listen to what you're saying. They give you a prescription for depression or what have you. Then you go back and you've got another issue. They give you another pill which collides with the one they gave you before, and before you know it, you're stuck in this hole. You're stuck in this cycle of, you know, not being able to get out of your own way. And what we're going to be talking about with attitude is everything, or everything is attitude, should I say. What we're going to be talking about when we talk about that is we're going to be talking about how just by having little exercises, having little snippets of things to do on a daily basis, for instance, having just the simple act of having a mantra every day can help you to change your attitude and to become more positive, and help you and to enable you to deal with the problems that you have in a more positive way without taking the pills. Do you want to say anything about that, Al?
No, I'm just looking forward to you know, exploring and learning from you know, obviously you and the conversations we have, but learning from others and seeing how they are coping with things, how are they looking at things. It's hopefully going to be an eye-opening experience.
Also listening to other people's stories of how they got themselves out of difficulties and the things that they did, examples of how other people sort of got out of their own way. Carolyn.
Lisa Dawn says,
good morning, Lisa Dawn.
do you believe our sun sign / zodiac is significant in our human composition / personality? You say you're May 19th, a Taurus.
I know.
You seem it, strong yet kind.
Oh, I'm tough. I'm the toughest you'll ever come across. Yes, I'm a Taurian, and I'm proud of it. Yes, I do believe that, you know, the zodiac, that the stars, the energy of the planets makes all the difference to who we are and how we are and so on. And combine that with soul signs, you know, you get a really pretty good picture of the kind of person you are and the kind of personality you are. And you also get a pretty good picture of those around you who you're compatible with and those who you are not compatible with. I think this is the main secret here with all humankind, because we are all different energies, and we, you know, and in our upbringing and in the way we are, certain of our character traits were encouraged and certain of our character traits were suppressed. And, you know, as adults, we struggle with all of that. But I think the biggest secret to having a good relationship is to understand the energy that we are made up of. Soul science does that, but certainly we should not dismiss our zodiac sign. I don't know much about it, but I do know I'm a Taurian. I know my daughter is an Aries. We've got a ram and a bull. Woo! But we're so close. We do butt heads, but that's okay. We laugh about it. We cry about it. We do all the things that mothers and daughters do, don't we? All right, let's have another question. Is it Al? Al, let's go for another question. We're getting a lot of questions answered this morning.
We are. Deborah has a question. She asked one before. I feel like this is an important one.
Okay.
Rosemary, my mother passed away 3 years ago. I gave her permission to let go, and she was gone the next day.
Nice.
I was told by a reader she didn't want to go. Did I do the right thing? She was told by a reader.
I do not know who told you that, honey bun. But don't go back, please. Don't go back to see that person, because that is, let me think. There's so many wonderful phrases. Twaddle, codswallop. They're two very English phrases. Simply put, what a nonsense. What an absolute nonsense. Of course, I'm sure she did not want to leave you all, but I'm also sure that she wouldn't have gone if she'd have been, you know, struggling. It was her time. And Grey Eagle is saying, and she's happy. So, again, you know, somebody said earlier on, I think one of the questions was, how do I find someone who guides and steers us? I mean, look, sweetie, apply common sense. All of you out there, apply a little bit of common sense. When you hear twaddle, codswallop, I'm trying to think of another one. I can't think of it. Poppycock. There you are, poppycock. When you hear it, don't you recognize it truly? Don't you? Unfortunately, though, these people who know so little, they say it with such conviction, and they make you doubt yourself, and they make you doubt your own beliefs, and they make you, it's that little seed of doubt that they put into your mind, and it's like a little worm that worms its way around. Should I have given my mother permission to leave? Should I have done that? Would I have been better holding on to her? The answer is, I'll tell you now, and this is not codswallop, twaddle, or poppycock, or any of those other names. You did exactly the right thing. You gave your mother permission to leave you. Now, there's no question that she was going, is there? There's no question she was on her way anyway. Whether you'd given her permission, whether you'd have hung on to her or not, she would have gone one way or another. It was her time. She was ready to go. What you did was you gave her the confidence, the relief, the love, the astounding love that you gave to her in that moment when you said, it's okay, you can go. Wow, what an unselfish thing you did. You did exactly the right thing. Stop listening to the twaddle that people talk. And you know it's twaddle in your heart, otherwise you wouldn't be asking me this question, would you? Alf.
Actually, I have something to say on that.
Oh, Carolyn. Carolyn, what do you have to say on this subject?
It seems, as a person who has been privy to a lot of the information that goes on here, I can't say that I have ever heard anybody that you spoke with give a client horrible news. In other words, there's never been anybody leaving here after speaking with you going, oh my gosh, I feel so bad now.
No, I never give out negative. I do give advice, and sometimes people do get a rollicking.
Right, but that's different that's different. To me, somebody in your position telling a client that, you know, oh, your mom's sad and you shouldn't have done this is just a way or a ploy for them to get that person to come back, because now we can make amends together.
Yeah, just be careful out there, would you, all of you? You know, it's not true. I don't want, Carolyn, what you've just said, and thank you for saying that, but I don't want people to get the impression that I'm just all love and light and saying, oh, no, you know, everything is wonderful and all that, because I don't. Because if someone comes to me for a consultation and they need a kick up the bottom because they're doing something they shouldn't do, or they're behaving in a way they shouldn't behave, or whatever, they, believe you me, they get it in no uncertain terms. However, you know, you always should look at the positive of everything. If somebody's going to get a kick up the bum because they've done something naughty, then the advice is there for them to change their life, to change their way. Those in the spirit world will help you, and they will advise you, and they'll show you ways of changing your ways, if you like, or changing your attitude. So, you know, I mean, that's just it was an unnecessary comment from a person who has no clue what they're doing. But please don't allow that to affect what you think of what you did, because what you did was fantastic, fabulous.
Jeanette has a question.
So unselfish.
Oh, so sorry.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
In the spirit world, do you stay the same age as when you pass? What about children? Do they age?
Yes and no. I've met people in the spirit world who passed when they were children, and I see them still as children. I've met people who passed as children and now they're adults. I think the decision is ours to make when we get there. I don't want to age any more than I am already. I mean, you know, without the makeup, it's bad enough, and I'll have no makeup when I get there. Really don't. don't want to age much more. I might, in fact, choose to look a bit younger than I am. But I think it depends on us, and it depends on the individual person as to what it is that they want to do, and how it is they feel. If the soul is young, I think it shows in the physical sense. If the soul is miserable and old and wrinkled, it's going to show. My soul is not miserable and old and wrinkled. Not going to have that. Al, come on, step in here.
Deborah actually commented, thank you for giving me the piece that I needed. I think what she did was, I mean, the strength that it takes to do that, knowing that you want to hold on to your loved ones, is pretty incredible. I think for you, from what I've witnessed, yes, I've been, party to those kick in the bums, as you say, but you do it with kindness, with empathy, and the word that you always use, responsibility, which is key.
And I think that this person that has said that bit of twaddle is a person who has no clue about the responsibility of what she's doing and how much she's damaging people when she says things like that. And unfortunately, she or he is probably still saying and doing the same things with no clue of the responsibility. When you go to see someone like me, please be skeptical. Please be skeptical. Be aware, be open-minded, but understand this, that somebody like myself can literally, and does literally, change people's lives, and literally can affect people's hearts in a very big way. You always have to be mindful of that. When all of you out there who see yourselves as mediums or psychics or whatever it is, when you're giving messages and you're connecting with the spirit, well, please remember the responsibility. Don't say anything that can be really damaging or hurtful. Be kind and be sensible and be critical. And, don't leave someone wondering and worrying about, the last thing that they ever said to their mother. It's disgraceful. Don't do it. Be nice. The message today is be nice, I think. Mm-hmm. Carolyn, go on.
Terry has a question.
Who?
Terry.
Yeah, good morning, Terry.
Can you tell how strong a soul is when you connect with them? I hear some say that a bright soul.
We just had that question, I think.
Oh, you sure?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't hear. Sorry, reading along.
Right, I think Al did that one.
We did have that one, but as actually a follow-up to that, Rosemary,
yes.
Can you, when people are in the physical form, can you see if someone has a strong soul aura, just from them walking around or just from you speaking to them? Do certain people in an audience have a stronger soul than others? And can you see that?
It's not the stronger soul, it's a stronger energy. And yes, those of you out there who see auras will know, yes. If you look at someone's aura, you can see whether the person is a strong person or has a strong soul or has an innate sense of their own spirit. And it certainly can literally shine out, really can shine out of you. I had a client many years ago. She was probably, I've forgotten her name, but she was probably one of the most spiritual people I've ever met. And she sat down on my sofa, and it was, I was a bit blinded at first. I mean, literally a bit blinded at first, because wow, the light that came from her and the joy and the light and the purity of her soul was something to see. It was really something to see. Very much like, if you remember, we had Thomas' mother here a few weeks ago. And when I first saw Thomas, who is my beautiful earth angel, not mine, but I like to think of him as mine, but he is a beautiful earth angel. And when I saw him, I mean, I was literally blinded by the light when I saw him. So yes, I think, those of us who can see and sense and be aware, we certainly should use that ability to because when we're dealing with people, unfortunately, in this world of ours, you know, we never know what we're going to come up against. So we should always be aware of using our sense and our senses. Karen,
Got nothing.
You got nothing.
Got nothing.
Is that it, Al?
Linda actually says, going back to the skepticism and talking before a little bit, she says, I was so happy for my reading with you that you identified her mother in a shadow, which was exactly how she was in life. But it was like you and Grey Eagle was that you could talk. What she liked was that you and Grey Eagle could talk to her and help her.
That's what we do. That's so nice of you, darling, to say that to us. Now, how much did I pay you for saying that? I'm just kidding. I didn't even know you were going to be on this morning. I'm glad to hear from you, and I'm so glad that we were able to help you and make that connection for you and, you know, your loved ones in the spirit world. I'm so glad for that. Al, another question or comments? Any questions, comments, anything?
Brother Nate just commented.
Yeah.
Sister Mrs. Rosemary is without doubt the best spiritual medium on the planet. She has proof that death is of the body and not the soul. What a miracle for this not so loving culture.
Wow. Well, thank you. That's so nice of you. I can't say that I'm the best. I can't agree that I'm the best medium on the planet because I don't know all the mediums on the planet. But thank you. That's a great accolade, and I appreciate that, Nat. Thank you so much for that. Al, have we got any questions or comments going on here?
I think that's about it for the questions and comments. We're close to time, but obviously up to you.
Got one more that just popped up.
One more that popped up. Go on, Carolyn.
Francesca.
Good morning, Francesca.
Hello, Rosemary. Is it possible that a soul of a beloved person is still at our side? Is it possible some physical manifestation too?
Yes. Yes. Those in the spirit world can and do, in fact, walk by our side. And certainly, if they really, if it's really important to them, they will give some physical manifestation of themselves. I've seen my father many times. My daughter's seen my father many times. So yes, 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 and yes, Francesca, thank you for that question. Right, just mentioning again, okay, we're coming back to, if you need us, want us, love us, care about us, please subscribe to this channel. We're getting subscriptions on a daily basis. The more people subscribe, the more we'll be able to do on YouTube. I know it sounds weird, but that's the way it is. Does not cost you to subscribe, sorry. Does not cost you to subscribe. You click on the subscribe button, you click, and it's done. It's as simple as that. Somewhere on your screen, you will have a subscribe button. So click on that, please, please, please. Click, click, click. Because we need as many subscribers as we can get. Because there's so many things, right, Al, that we want to do on YouTube that we can do the more subscribers that we have. If you need to ask questions or get in touch with us, or if you would like a consultation with me, email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. You can find us on Facebook. On
Facebook is your name, Rosemary Altea.
Rosemary Altea. You can find us on Meetup. You can find us on Twitter and all of those other media things, Instagram and Messenger and all of that stuff. Please do not expect me to reply because I have thousands of people. I don't have time, but we're going to be doing some more cooking, hopefully in the kitchen next week. So check out our cooking videos as well. We are on the last leg of the cookbook. We are definitely going to have it out by Christmas time. I'm making a promise to myself as well as to everybody else. If you want to know more about the new book, A Walk in the Clouds, please, again, email us. If you want to know about our other books or our CDs, our meditation tapes, whatever it is that you want to know about, email us, rosemary@rosemaryaltea.com. If you want to connect with Al and I on Friday, that's tomorrow, this coming Friday, tomorrow. I don't know what the date is tomorrow, Al. Can you figure it out for me? August 31st. And so at 6 o'clock, Eastern time. That is like New York time. It's the East Coast of America. 5 hours ahead in England, 6 hours ahead in Italy, 3 hours back in Colorado, 2 or 3 hours, is it now? And several hours back the other way in California. Figure it out for yourselves. I've just given you a little bit there. But join us. We're going to be talking tomorrow, 6 o'clock my time, Eastern time. We're going to be talking everything is attitude. And if you want to join us, please feel free then to, you know, put in your comments. I don't know if you'll be able to join us live. I'm not sure how it works out, but we'll talk more about that tomorrow. It's our first Everything is Attitude. We're going to be doing it weekly. And we'd love you all to join us and to let us know about your lives and how we can benefit you by advising you perhaps on your attitudes. And you can tell us some stories which will inspire us. That's how it's going to work. So I'd like to say thank you to Gregor for being with us this morning. I'd like to say thank you to Carolyn. Say, you know, bye, Carolyn. See you later, alligator. And Al, I would like to thank you too for your input and, you know, out there in Colorado. You're going for a hike now, aren't you? I know you're going for a hike.
I just might.
Well, whatever it is you all do, remember today is, what is it today? We're going to say thanks. We're going to give our gratitude. We're going to have some positive thinking. We're going to find joy, 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 and we're going to be grateful for all those good things that we have. And even those of you out there who don't think you have anything good in your life, take a good hard look, because at least one good thing in your life, that's me. You had me this morning. Even if you had nothing else, you had my smiling face. So work on the good things. In the meantime, until we see you again next week, or those of you who join us tomorrow, until we see you again next time, please have a very, very, very blessed day. I've got to find that little arrow now. I don't know where. There it is. Have a very blessed day, everybody.